Ooh, heavy on the calm down. It's on the calm down. Okay? It's on the let's dial it back a bit. Let's flip it, verse it, rewind. Let's calm down. It's heavy on the calm down. All right, I know you wasn't about to make that impulsive ass decision just off of anger alone, right? I know you weren't about to make that life-changing ass decision just strictly on while you were in that autopilot state, were you? No, I know you weren't about to just sign that fucking contract without reading it, were you? No, it's on the calm down, right? It's gonna be okay for sure, but heavy on the calm down, right? I know you weren't about to just move forward off of just impulse alone, right? It's gonna be all right. I almost lost you there for a minute, huh? Yeah, let's dial it back. It's on the calm down, right? I almost lost you. I almost lost you there, right? Let's reel it back a bit. Let's do this. I want you to really use your discernment when it comes to this particular message, because you have to be able to discern whether or not this is for you or not. But from what I'm picking up on, this is a channeled message surrounding a leap of faith. And there is a difference between taking a leap of faith led with faith and taking a leap of faith from a place of fear and impulse. And that's why I say you need to use your discernment when it comes to this particular message, because for some of you guys, you are taking a leap of faith. And leaps of faith sometimes mean just taking a leap without looking, and it's strictly led from God and it's strictly led from the Most High. But there are some decisions that you make that are just rooted in impulse and fear. And I want to break down the difference between the two in the ways that it was channeled to me, right? When you take a faith-based leap of faith, it's signs and confirmations that come with that. It's led with peace. It comes from a place of peace that surpasses all understanding, right? God is leading you somewhere, and things line up once you start taking said action, right? Meaning once you take step one, other things will start to line up, right? And those are the leaps of faith that sometimes you just have to take without any explanation, without knowing what's on the other side of it, all of those things, right? And it's understandable. Some of those decisions need to be made on your own, and it can only be understood by you and God. So making those decisions without having to consult with other people or trying to validate it through other people, those are decisions you need to go within and make sure that only you can validate. But there are other decisions that you make strictly from impulse and from a place of fear. And you can always tell the difference between the two, because a fear-based, impulsive decision stems when you're trying to just get away from something. You're trying to avoid something. You're not being honest about something. That's the main difference between the two. If you're going to take this leap forward, by all means, make sure that this is something that only you can validate. You've gone to God about, you've talked about it, and you know that this is the best decision concerning you and your path. But if this is a fear-based decision, meaning the only reason that you're moving forward is because you feel like there's nothing, you have no other choice, your back is against the wall, I feel like I'm limited, I need to just act. That's a fear-based decision. And only you can validate which one of these decisions is rooted in what. But you have to be sure that you aren't so in a rush to move forward that you overlook the very important, crucial aspects of this particular decision. Like reading the contract through, making sure that you thoroughly understand what it is that you're getting yourself into. Making sure that you understand how this benefits you moving forward. Right? For some of you guys, you made a decision that ultimately ended up you having to go back into. You had to circle back to this particular decision that you made. And it's because God is giving you another opportunity to sit with this so that you have a better understanding on what you're trying to build. What is it that you're trying to create, right? Because when you have a lack of clarity on what it is that you're trying to accomplish for self, you're always going to be making decisions just rooted in, well, we'll figure it out. And again, those sometimes that happens when you're taking a leap of faith, right? It's like, I don't know, I'm just walking. Let's just figure it out. I'm trusting God with that, right? But there are other big decisions when it comes to commitment, meaning that on the other side of this is you committing your time, your energy, your sense of self. Those types of decisions, especially long-term contracts, are the things that you need to actually sit with a little bit longer to make sure that you understand that this isn't just, you got to make sure that this is actually for you, right? And I get it. Look, sometimes when you're in a tough situation and you're just ready to bolt the fuck out of there, like there are some things that you do like strictly out of the fact that like, I just gotta go. And sometimes you just gotta get out of there, right? But there are other times where if you have the opportunity to sit with it a little bit longer and be strategic, it'll make the difference between leaving and being gone and eventually having to come back versus leaving for good. There is a sense of strategy that needs to be connected to whatever it is that you're doing. And I remember creating a channeled message concerning this a while back, but it's surrounding your sense of like building off of solid ground, right? Because when you're trying to cultivate something, regardless of whatever it is, you're trying to build a business, you're trying to build a family, you're trying to build a solid sense of relationship, you can't do that and also abandon yourself. And that is another thing that is a big indicator on whether or not this is a fear-based or a faith-based decision. If you're moving forward at the expense of self, meaning there's a part of you that you have to abandon in order for you to make this type of commitment, that's a sign within itself on whether or not this is for you or it's not. And you would know that if you sit with yourself long enough to be able to decipher between whether or not this is rooted in fear or faith. I'm reminded of like God, right? There's a story in the Bible where when God was a child, he was young and he was with his parents, right? And inevitably, he ended up running off on his own, finding himself in a church and trying to build in the temple. And his parents literally had to go find him and tell him, hey, like, where were you? Why did you run off? What are you doing? Some of you guys are familiar with this story. He looked at them and said, don't you know I'm supposed to be about my father's business? What do you mean? Why are you looking for me? Right? But that was not his appointed time to do so. So inevitably, he ended up building something that was out of season. And I'm going to tell you something that my pastor always told me. The right thing at the wrong time is still the wrong thing. That's why you need to use your discernment on what is actually pushing you to make this decision. Maybe you do need a little bit more time to understand what it is that you're trying to build. Because if you're just throwing things at the wall because you're just so ready to get out of this frustrating situation, you're so ready to just be in a connection, you're so ready to just be on the other side of this financial situation. I get that. But if you want to build something sustainable and long-term, you have to submit yourself to the process. That's unavoidable, baby. I know that you're ready to move. But perhaps this pullback, whatever happened, perhaps this pullback is just what you need in order to actually gain more clarity on what it is that you're trying to move forward into, right? Because this pullback can actually launch you forward with the right steps.